All right. 20 minutes. I might just do that. All right. All right. Good morning. This is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Come on for my 15. Yesterday, I talked about the Browns and their quarterback situation and how a lot of fans are upset at the fact that Deshaun Watson just might end up playing this year. A lot of them hope that they don't. The Browns don't want him to play because they save a lot of money, but at the same time, you can save all the money you want, but if you're not putting a winning product on the field, or at least one that's competitive, then you're going to lose a lot of interest from your fans. So that's something they have to take into consideration. Just like the Miami Dolphins, their owners and administrators have to take into account what's been taking place with Dolphins. About 2 years ago, they were lauded as this team that nobody really wanted to play. They had speed all over the place. They had matchup nightmares for defenses, and it's just a situation that you wanted to get in and get out without too much damage. How can you control the Dolphins without them exploding on you was the question. But as time is going on, like most NFL teams and situations, those coaches, they go to work. And while you're sleeping, they're working. While you're on summer vacation, they're working. They're looking at film, trying to figure out how can I slow this opponent I'm playing against down. And the Dolphins they were of high interest. What can we do with this high-powered offense? So what they tried to do, or what they've been doing lately, they've been sitting back and making Tua hold the ball and think just a little bit too much about what to do, and it's causing a major problem. So they're pretty much packing the middle of the defense. They're not allowing you to beat them over the top, and they're in a position where they can react to anything that goes out to the flanks. So compounded with the adjustments that these teams are making, you have guys like Tyreek Hill and Tua. They're not very happy with each other. They're not on the same page. Well, Tyreek, he can get open, and we know he can get open. He's done it since he's been in the league, and he's going to continue to get open. The question is, can Tua make the right read to get it to him? And based on all the NFL insiders that I understand, or I like to hear talk, Tua is making bad reads, he's making bad decisions, and he's late with a lot of throws. As you know, in football, you can't be late with too many throws, because if you are, it's going to 9 times out of 10 end up going the other way. And if he's not throwing interceptions, he's holding on to the ball too long, and he's missing wide open receivers, and it's causing a problem. Now, they played a lot better last week, and they hope to continue that tonight. And it's actually in their favor to do something tonight, simply because Buffalo doesn't really have a whole lot of time to prepare for them. And that goes both ways. So generally, these Thursday night games should be more higher scoring than what you would see during the weekend, because they don't have enough time to prepare as they should. Now, the good thing about it, this is a division game, so these guys know each other pretty well. And the way that teams have been defending Miami, you can expect Buffalo to try to pull the same thing. So the talk is becoming Tyreek Hill. Should he be traded? I mentioned this the other day. I think that with the struggles of Kansas City, given that success he had in Kansas City, maybe Mahomes need to put a phone call in to his administrators and tell them, look, go down to Miami and get Hill back in here. And now we got a deep threat that'll open up Kelsey a little bit more, and it helps reduce the lag that they don't have with Rashee Rice being suspended and Xavier Worthy being out with that shoulder. They need some receivers in Kansas City, and that will help them out a lot. Mr. Mulatto, how you doing? Daniels will be there for one reason, only the color of his skin. I don't know, man. I've seen a lot of white coaches get canned over the years. I think the problem with McDaniels, he has the team pretty much turned on him. He's been throwing him under the bus, and he hadn't been backing him. And if they come out and they don't have a good performance tonight, or they get blown out, I don't think McDaniels is going to survive the weekend. Hell, they might not get past Friday. And that's the advantage to the Dolphins owners. They got those couple extra days to get somebody in there to get them ready for the next game, because they won't play for like 10 days. So I think it's critical for the Dolphins and Mike McDaniels to show up tonight and put together a good performance like they did against New England the other day for everybody to keep their jobs. Now that loss that they had with the Colts, that's kind of unsuspected, but at the same time, anything can happen in week one. You don't know what the other team's going to do or what their ideas are. You don't have anything to go by on film because it's a completely different team. Now, this was 1981. You didn't have the free agency, and you pretty much knew who was on that other team, and you knew pretty much what they can do. Not anymore. You can't game plan like you could have back then. Now it's completely different. And I think that because of that loss against the Colts, you don't really hold that against them too much. But at the same time, I guess you could, because they could have had the same kind of effect against the Colts than what took place against them. So, but losing to New England last week, they showed themselves a lot better than what they did in that first week. But at the same time, if you hear all the talk coming out of Miami, Tua not getting along with Hill, trade rumors, even though the Dolphins really don't want to trade Hill, they may have to get some kind of value, because it looks like this team, as it's configured right now, is going to have to be broken up. And that's the way I see it. I already said, good. JC, how you doing, man? Buffalo is tough, mulatto. Hill isn't going back to Miami. Where do you think he should go? I think he should call Mahomes and say, look, man, bring me back home, because that'll give him a deep threat. And when Rice comes back, that's more help. And then maybe if Travis Kelce stop being enamored with that Swift woman, then maybe he can play some better football. So, but yeah, I think a good place would be Kansas City. And matter of fact, I never thought he should have left Kansas City. I realize you need to go out and get you some money, but if it's really all about championships and doing the best you can, his best position was to be in Kansas City. So it'd be interesting to see how they play tonight, and I'll be looking forward to it. Now, one quick note while I'm thinking about it, I just got wind that the NCAA has reduced one of the transfer portal windows for players to bounce around the way they've been bouncing. Before they had two windows. You had one right after the season, and then you had one right after the spring practice. Well, they're getting rid of the spring portal. So now if a guy wants to transfer, he has a certain amount of time to do it right after the season. Now, the only difference, only change to this new rule is that if you're in the college football playoffs, because this window is going to occur in January, they're going to give you extra 5 days after your season ends to enter that portal. So you're not going to be affected by it in the middle of the portal season, which means that you don't have to leave your team like some guys did last year when they was in the middle of a playoff run. And that shows you right then that they were more concerned about the money than trying to help their teammates win. So by doing this, it helps the coaches a whole lot. I could put my team together in January. I could take that team to spring practice, and I got something to build on from that point. But the way it was before, they transfer in the spring, they come to you, and then they want to try to renegotiate their deal. You don't want to give them what they want, then they leave. That's what happened with the quarterback from Tennessee who went to UCLA. I'm a leaver. The Tennessee didn't want to pay him, so just like his name say, I'm going to leave you, and I'm going over here and get some more money with UCLA. But UCLA got hit with the NIL syndrome just like Florida State. They didn't choose right, and they got a whole bunch of players in there that don't fit together, and they don't quite match their stars, and they're not performing very well. I'm hot with UCLA myself because I had this parlay, and I know I shouldn't be talking about it. I'm not a big gambler, but I did have a parlay when it was on college football, and I had all of them right except for UCLA beating New Mexico, which they should beat New Mexico. Historically, they had no reason why they should consider losing to New Mexico. But the thing is, they had a 14.5 point spread. So I was debating, well, I don't know if they're going to beat them by 14.5, but they probably will. So let me go ahead and put this 14 down. But not only didn't they beat them by 14.5, hell, they got beat by 25. So that cost Sean Foster his job, which it should have, because that's a game that they should not be losing to. But I'm a leaver. Just like Florida State put together that bad NIL team, Same thing with UCLA. And you're going to see this bounce around all over the country because teams are going to be thinking that this guy's this, that guy's that, and then they end up getting their head cracked. It's kind of like the Arch Manning syndrome down there in Texas. Because he's got this Manning name and he's supposed to be well-groomed and he's supposed to be this and he's supposed to be that, he's so good that we got to make sure we got Ewers out of here, even though Ewers could have came back another year and helped us get into a better situation than we were the year before. They say, no, Manning is better than Ewers. If Manning had played in the playoffs, we would have beat Ohio State. Well, he had all summer, all spring to get ready for Ohio State. What's he do? He lays an egg. You think that was an anomaly? No, he hadn't done anything in the last two games either. Arch Manning is an overhyped player at this point that looks like a high school quarterback. So until he does something to show me any different, that's all he is. He's just an overhyped player that's just a high school glorified quarterback is what he is to me. All right, he doesn't going back. JC, I agree, okay. But kind of got off track there. But if you don't pick right in the NIL, it's going to bury you. And players were holding teams hostage with this money negotiation crap. And teams with the bigger pockets like up-and-coming Texas Tech, they're the winners in all of this. Well, by eliminating that late window, you got to make a choice right away about what you want to do if this is what you want to do. So if you want to play here at Florida State or Miami, you got to make that decision, and you're going to be stuck with it until the next window opens in January. And that gives more control back to the coaches, because now I can put together a roster and I know what I'm going to be dealing with instead of trying to figure out, well, who's going to leave me after the spring portal. Now, the only thing worse than all of that is the fact that the same thing occurs in high school down here in Florida. They got this pretty much an open transfer rule now. Before you had to have certain stipulations where you can move, but now they're bouncing around like hotcakes, even worse than college. And the thing is, they want to say that you can't be recruiting. Well, hell, if you ain't recruiting, how the hell are you going to compete? You got these high schools down here where rosters look like college rosters. By that I mean this guy's from this town, he's from that town, and they all come together in one area to play. I mean, that's not high school football. High school football is a local thing. Your neighborhood, you go to school. Yeah, I understand you going across town for whatever, but the fact that that team is not winning, you can pack up and leave in the middle of the season, that ain't worth the crap. I mean, the whole system is going to collapse, especially here in Florida, because, you know, they opened up NIL here about 2 years ago, and the average coach don't make a whole lot of money in Florida. They got the athletes, they got the prestige and all that, but the money is not here. You want to get paid, you got to go to Georgia or South Carolina, somewhere where they actually paying the coaches, but here they don't pay you. So if you got a kid on the team that's making 10, 12,000 or whatever it is for his NIL, and the damn head coach is making like $3, how long you think that's going to last? It ain't going to last very long. So they're considering trying to change the pay down here in Florida, but the question is, where's the money going to come from? Public school dollars are diminishing, and you're talking about paying coaches now, allow all this extra money. Where are you going to get the money from? If the state don't kick it in, then there's no money there to be had, and then the whole system is going to fall right on its face. All right. Raul Perez says, let's go Bills, man, let's get paid, and Tyreek has no business in Miami anymore. He's wasting his prime and the talent he needs out. I think he needs out too, and look like Tua is not the quarterback that they thought he was going to be. Maybe he's had too many concussions. He probably would have had a better reputation hit had he walked away from dealing with all those concussions than to try to play through it and look worse. So he probably should have rolled off into the sunset last year. What's sad is watching Florida's top talent leave the state. Yeah, they are leaving the state. And one thing I have to respect Georgia, the way they run their high school association up there a whole lot different when it comes to playoffs, and I think it's just head and shoulders better than what they do down here in Florida. And now you got this NIL stuff, and the coaches don't get paid, and the players can get paid now. What incentives is it for a coach to go out there and make $2,000 as an assistant when you got the players making much more than you? He's still got to get through you to get to the field, And where it is now, if you have any kind of dispute with a kid, they're probably going to get rid of you before they discipline the kid. So it may come to the fight where the damn kids might be coaching themselves, and that can't go. So they're going to have to pay the coaches down here. It's going to be a problem. Did you hear they're changing the rules for college transfer? Yeah, I just talked about that. Once a year is the best way to do it. But going back to the point I was trying to make about the high school in relation to college, you have spring practice in high school, and because these guys can bounce around, those same guys, they won't come back. Most of them won't come back. So all this preparation you've been doing for the season, all your excitement levels rising because you think you got this and you're going to have that. You come back to spring practice and you got a JV team. Fall practice, you got a JV team. How can you compete like that? And it comes down to who's doing the recruiting behind the scenes, who's slipping money into parents' pockets. As much as they say that they don't want that to happen, that's what's happening. And I noticed they slap some teams on the hand and try to make it look like they're doing something, but it don't take much to find out who's doing what. And I know Gaston County up there, they had some paperwork issues that caused them to lose 8 players. But get this, if the situation is so egregious, why would you let them play for any other school except for that school if the problem was so necessary that you have to fine the coach $5,000, suspend him for a year, and then tell the players that they got to go somewhere else to play? It don't make a whole hell of a lot of sense to me. Selmo, how you doing, man? You talking to JC? I don't know what that means on B Watts, but I just think it's interesting how the coaches down here can't really put together a team unless you know you're a super recruiter and you slipping some money in somebody's pockets and you secure all of that stuff. Beauty of it is, the head coaches and all that, the really good ones, they're detached from all that. What they have emissaries who go out and do their dirty work for them. And there's no way you can control it now. It's completely out of control. So even to the point now, I hear some coaches even openly talking about recruiting. Hell, because it ain't no secret no more. So for them to slap this team on the hand for doing something everybody else is doing, just to save face or try to show that you're doing something, it's really a joke. And in that vein, the high school association here, just like the NCAA, you're just a figurehead blowing smoke that somebody can easily sidestep, not even paying it any mind. But yeah, I think it's a great idea, JC, that they're going to get rid of that portal, that second portal window, because now you can put together your team and actually bring them in through spring practice, and then you have an idea of what you got instead of hoping that you got something. I bet UCLA right now regret the fact that they went through all that with that Amaliva guy, and he's not even producing. If he's supposed to be so great, just like the dude DJ Ugalele at Florida State, he didn't do nothing. So it's all a joke, man, and it all comes down to get yourself in a better position to do whatever it is you want to do. So I'm asking tonight, will Mike McDaniel survive the weekend as a head coach of the Dolphins? Right now, you guys right about 50% there. And I think that McDaniels, he can't save face, but the reports I'm hearing, the team pretty much throwing him under the bus. And even if he survives tonight, it's just a matter of time before that marriage ends. And he seemed to have some good characteristics as a coach. He's one of those brainiac kind of guys, but he can get boring real quick if you're not winning. And they're not winning right now, so he's not very exciting to the fan base nor the teams. So because of that, I think his days are numbered in Miami, unless they can miraculously turn it around. There's been a lot of coaches in history, they were on their way out the door and then turned it into a Hall of Fame career. A lot of you guys aren't familiar with Duke. Coach K, he was almost out the door, and all of a sudden, he got hot and they turned it around and he kept it going. But he was on the way out the door. And it happens all the time. All right, JC Sports Talk with B Watts. What are you guys talking about, man? Is this your own? You got your own thing, JC? What's B Watts and Selmo? Okay, that must be Selmo. Must have his own thing. All right, I don't know what's going on. What you guys tell me though. I like to see, because if you got something, I want to check you out. All right, must be another JC, not me. Okay, I guess so. I don't know. But anyway, I just want to come on and talk about that transfer portal thing a minute, and then you also have the Dolphins playing the Bills tonight. Bills playing pretty good football. They ran off the Jets the other day. They should be able to score on Miami, but I don't see them doing what they did to the Jets the other day. They should have a pretty good game plan. James Cook is playing against his hometown team, the Dolphins. He's a dangerous guy if he gets in the open space. But I noticed when he played against Baltimore, you get him before you get through that hole, then he's not going to be that effective. And same thing in the passing game. You have to make sure that you can tackle him when he first catches the ball. But if he gets by that first tackler and gets going, he's dangerous much in the way like a Derrick Henry. Once he gets going in the open field, he becomes a problem. Well, he's not going to run you over and stiff arm you all that, but he's going to outrun you, and he's going to out-quick you in open field. That's the value of a James Cook. But if you can wrap him up as soon as he get the ball, then he's not going to do a whole lot. And I think the Dolphins are going to have to make sure they get him on the ground when he catch the ball. They've done decent against him in the past, and if they can control that, then they should be able to compete. But can they beat the Bills? Not the way the Bills are playing. I think the Bills probably about 10 points better than Miami, and because of that, if there's some bickering on the sideline that becomes evident before everybody else, and then the game snowballs into a game that's not close in the fourth quarter, then Mike McDaniel, he's not gonna survive the weekend, and might just be best for everybody to just clean house down there. And if McDaniels goes, the GM probably going, and they're gonna start moving players around. And like I say, if I'm Tyreek Hill, I'm getting on the phone, I'm calling Mahomes and say, look here, man, bring me back home, because I can give you that deep threat down the middle. You still have Kelsey deep down the field with Hill. You got Kelsey in the middle, and then you got those other guys contributing. Because right now, Smith-Schuster, he's not doing very much. You would think he would step up and do something, but he's not. And they got to run the ball better in Kansas City as well. So a lot of help from Hill would advance the fortunes of Kansas City, but Miami is just not working anymore, and I think it's going to explode on them tonight. Maybe not early, but if it's early, he's going to get Lane Kiffin. As you know, Lane Kiffin, he got fired on the airplane one night coming back from a USC game, and that's the first time I've ever seen that happen, and it's probably going to happen again. All right, Lucky Hitting Scratcher, how you doing? All right, so I hope you guys, wherever you are in the world, man, have a great day, man. The horn went off. I got to go sign in and go to work, and unless there's some breaking news, I'll be back on today. I'll be back on in the morning unless there's some breaking news. And one last look at the poll. We're still sitting on 50-50. And one last comment, JC says, do you think a big contract will be the issue with him going to Kansas City? Nope, because they're just going to cut somebody to make room for him. And I'm not saying that Kansas City is even interested, but it would make sense given the danger that Mahomes and Hill posed to those defenses while he was there. And he hadn't lost a whole lot of speed, so there's no reason why he couldn't still do the same kind of thing. Okay, Ohio State got a freshman running back named Bo Jackson. Yeah, is he any kin to Bo Jackson, or can he play like a Bo Jackson? If he ain't, he just got a similar name, no different than a James Brown or something like that. Don't mean anything. But it's nice to think about, though. But anyway, I appreciate your sale, Mo, Lucky, Hidden, all you guys that chimed in today. Like I said, I'll be back on in the morning. If not, I may come on with some breaking news later on before kickoff tonight. And Raul Perez said the Cowboys can use another wide receiver. I don't know if they need another wide receiver. I think they need a new owner. And yeah, they survived the Giants, but what happens if they lose this weekend? How would they respond to that? That would be the interesting question. All right. Again, have a great day. I got to get up out of here, man. The day goes fast once that bell rings, and I'm already behind schedule here. All right. Have a great day.